Hey guys, welcome to the clubhouse. I'm Billy Jackson, and today's video is going to be continuing on my top 10 Star Wars list with number 8, Revenge of the Sith. Now, I did not like the prequels, but this was I guess I like this one more than the other two, slightly better. It's still bad acting. Hayden Christensen, I think, was a terrible Anakin. I know that, people love him, and because that's all they know, But the reason why I like this better than the other two, more than anything, is that this is the story I wanted. They could have just done this in one movie, maybe two. They didn't have to drag out Anakin into a whole trilogy of movies. Which they did, and we have what we have, and so be it. But at least we had this movie, and I love General Grievous. I saw him in the animated Clone Wars, not the Clone Wars that's on like Netflix right now, not that Clone Wars. There was a different animated shorts that they had that came on MTV actually. They're only like 5 minutes long, called the animated Clone Wars. Definitely suggest if you're a fan of any Star Wars, even animated. I know some people just like the live action stuff, but I love the animated stuff too, because it's really amazing. They can do stuff in animation that they can't do in live action, so you can really see some really cool stuff. But anyway, I definitely suggest watching the Clone Wars. First two seasons kind of but from season 3 on, it is just awesome, and Rebels. Anyway, back to this movie, Revenge of the Sith. General Grievous. I wanted to see him live action. I was ready because I saw him in the animated, like I said before, and he was a total badass. So I was ready to see him. Was I happy with him? No. Him coughing and all that stuff. They came out with some more of the animated Clone Wars after Revenge of the Sith that explained why he was coughing, but the General Grievous I saw before didn't have that cough and everything. So when he just looked weak to me, And then in the General Grievous that I saw in the animated, he takes on and kills like 3 or 4 Jedi at one time, and he couldn't fight Obi-Wan. He did okay, but he didn't do okay. He just straight got whooped by Obi-Wan, which I can believe because Obi-Wan, he is way better than he is. I get it and I understand it, but I just didn't get the General Grievous that I really wanted. But it was still cool at the same time. So I really liked getting to see General Grievous. I liked their fight at the end, but the beginning fight I was kind of upset about. But anyway, that being said, I was at least happy to see General Grievous. But like I was saying before, this is the story of Anakin turning into Darth Vader, and that's why I love this one more than the other ones, because I finally got to see the transition. Even though I don't like Hayden Christensen's acting ability, I think it's wooden and terrible, but he was going with what he was written. The writing is terrible, and the direction is terrible. So when everything's just terrible, it's hard to have a good movie. And I know I might be saying blasphemy for some of you that love this movie, and I understand. You have the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight that we knew about way back in the day. We finally got to see that, and that was cool, and that's what I loved about the movie as well, was the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight. Did it seem a little too choreographed? Yes. Was it too choreographed? Yes. Did they? And I saw an interview with George Lucas when this movie came out, and he said he wanted Anakin and Obi-Wan to fight on almost every type of surface. That's why they go from the lava pit to the tower falling, them swinging and hitting each other. He did that because he wanted to have that, not because it was good for the story. And that's one thing, my one criticism about the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight was that he just threw it at us and just threw it together and put it together just because he thought it looked cool. It wasn't a well fought battle like Luke and Darth Vader. It should have been more like that, more serious, more gritty. But nah, I had the trumpets playing. Dun, 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 dun. I love Star Wars music. I got a bunch of ringtones, Star Wars music, but it wasn't appropriate for their battle, in my opinion. That being said, at the same time, you have the Emperor fighting Yoda, which was awesome. And I hate CGI Yoda. I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you, I hate him. But at least they did him well in this movie, and it was exciting. It wasn't just him jumping around, even though he did some jumping around. And I was just like, ew. But they had more of him using his Force powers, and that's what makes Yoda so cool. You know, not that he's good with a lightsaber, he can jump around and you can't even see him, it's just a blur. Not because of that, because he's one with the Force. Well, not yet. When he dies, he becomes one with the Force. But he's right there. He's attuned to the Force more than anyone alive. And to see him in the Emperor battle was really fun. Now, I know I'm probably going to catch some flack for this, but I did not like the Emperor. The lightning coming back on him and everything. Actually, I like it. Let me rephrase that. I liked it, but the acting was terrible. Oh my gosh, man! Ian McKellen. I can't remember the guy's name who played the Emperor right off the top of my head, but that was the worst acting for Palpatine, the Emperor, whoever you want to call him, that I've ever seen. And you know, he's the original guy who played the original Emperor in the original movies. So I have liked him throughout these films. But when the lightning's coming on him, and he's like, well, at first when he's like, power, and shooting lightning bolts at Windu, and he blocks it, and the lightning goes back onto his face, and he's like, the Jedi are taking over, and it's like ripping up his... Oh my gosh, I was so mad. I was boiling in the theater. I was just like, are you serious? Are you serious? Why did y'all go this way? Why did y'all didn't just put makeup on his face? He has a whole prosthetic mask on, you know, and it makes his head look twice as big. You know, they didn't do that back then. Why didn't they just do what they did back then? It's so simple. You know, his face was small and covered by this hood, but now it's this huge head. And I challenge you to go back and rewatch the movie and see how big his head is, you know, compared to how he was back in Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi. But anyway, that being said, I still love the Emperor fighting Yoda scene, going at the same time as Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting. That was real exciting for me. So this movie, even though I hated all the CGI and all that stuff, I didn't hate all of it. I love the space battles and stuff like that. The little droids on the ships and things, I could have done without those. You know, and R2 fighting the robots and stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, George Lucas has also said that this is R2-D2's movie. It's supposed to be Anakin's movie. You know, it's supposed to be about Darth Vader. He wanted to make sure that people knew that this was an R2-D2 moment that he has. And rewatch the movie and see how many times R2-D2 is doing stuff. It's ridiculous. But anyway, it's not as bad as Jar Jar Binks, and it's not as bad as a bunch of CGI clone troopers from Attack of the Clones. So that's why it gets kind of a ranking above Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, because at least the story was more engaging. Oh, and I'm going to tell you the one moment that I loved out of any of the prequels. The one scene that I loved more than any of them is when he's making the decision to go and stop Windu and the others from stopping Palpatine. When he's in the Jedi Tower or Council Chambers or wherever he is, and he's looking out, and Padme's at the window of their home, and she's looking out, and you could tell they feel each other, and that he was making the connection and the decision then, you know, that I've got to save Palpatine. You know, I've got to save him to save her. You know, that's the whole reason why he does it. And, you know, when she starts crying and you can see him getting teary-eyed and stuff, that's the best, some of the best in Star Wars. And I'll tell you, I hate the prequels, but they have some great moments. They have some really good moments. The Darth Maul fight, anything with Darth Maul in it is awesome. And they have... you know, that moment when Padme and Anakin are looking at each other. They don't see each other, they feel each other. And I felt them feeling each other. So that was emotional for me. So I remember being in the theater and being like, this is gripping. So I was impressed with that. And I still get the feeling when I rewatch it today. So sorry guys, this is running real long, but I had a lot to say about this movie, so I'm going to stop there. I could say a bunch more, but I'm going to stop it there. But what'd you think about Revenge of the Sith? You know, what is it on your list, guys? Let me know in the comments below what you think about all these Star Wars movies. Until then, remember to like my videos and subscribe to my channel. And as always, make yourself happy every day, guys. And the only way to do that is to remember, the only thing stopping you is you stopping. Bam!